Something truly chaotic just unfolded between Meghan Markle and Kamala Harris, and no one saw it coming. We're talking about raised voices, pointed fingers, and all-out explosive tension, right in the middle of a Netflix shoot. And this wasn't just any set, it happened during the production of With Love, Meghan Season 2, which was supposed to be Meghan's big comeback, her chance to reclaim credibility in Hollywood. Instead, the entire project is spiraling out of control, and Kamala Harris has now made it clear, she wants nothing more to do with it. Here's how everything went off the rails. Netflix, alongside Meghan, had planned to go bigger with the second season. The idea was to raise the stakes, get high-profile guests, inject more drama, and introduce a touch of political relevance. To that end, they reached out to influential names like Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris for cameo appearances. The pitch was simple: keep it casual and conversational, tying it into the show's loose cooking and conversation format. But in practice, the whole thing fell apart. Kamala was scheduled to appear in episode 4 for a brief, 10-minute segment, one that was shockingly supposed to serve as the setting for her to announce a potential run for California governor. Yes, that was the plan, a major political reveal. Dropped in the middle of Meghan's lifestyle series, from the moment Harris arrived on set, though, things started unraveling. According to multiple behind-the-scenes accounts, Meghan couldn't stick to the script. She fumbled her lines, forgot important beats, and veered wildly off topic. At one point, she even brought up Donald Trump repeatedly, discussing what it felt like to lose to him, despite that having no connection to anything happening on screen. Kamala, who's known for her tightly managed appearances, had made it clear in advance: no improvisation, no unnecessary drama, and absolutely no mention of Trump. She didn't want to be used as a pawn in a controversy, but Meghan saw things differently. She reportedly believed that injecting Trump into the conversation would boost the episode's impact, stirring tension, sparking chatter, and drawing eyeballs. Even if it meant upsetting political boundaries, she thought it would be worth it. By the fourth or fifth take, Kamala had had enough. Meghan kept interrupting the flow, calling for reshoots, and tossing out unscripted comments that made everyone on set visibly uncomfortable. Finally, Harris reportedly raised her voice, not just to Meghan, but to the entire crew, calling the production a waste of time. She labeled Meghan's behavior unprofessional and accused the shoot of being completely disorganized. Then came the breaking point. Witnesses say Kamala pointed her finger directly at Meghan and told her she didn't deserve to host such a meaningful political moment on her show. Without another word, she stormed off set. Her team and security detail followed, leaving the rest of the room in stunned silence. The planned segment was scrapped. The entire 10-minute appearance for episode 4, a scene Netflix was banking on as a major turning point for the season, was gone in an instant. The fallout was immediate and severe. Kamala doesn't just want the footage cut, she reportedly wants it deleted entirely, destroyed. She's already put distance between herself and the project, telling Netflix she won't be involved in anything Meghan Markle touches moving forward. No specials, no interviews, nothing. That one incident sent shockwaves through the production. Now, Netflix execs like Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters are dealing with the aftermath of a disaster they never anticipated. What started as a lighthearted celebrity cooking series has turned into a political landmine riddled with egos, disorganization, and chaos. Behind closed doors, Netflix leadership was livid. Kamala's walkout wasn't just a PR problem, it cast doubt on the show's credibility. Greg Peters was reportedly seen pacing the lot afterward, muttering that they should have pulled the plug on the whole thing much earlier. Ted Sarandos, already under fire for Meghan's ballooning budgets and chaotic scheduling, was now staring down a political disaster that could cost Netflix far more than it could ever hope to earn back. And it wasn't just Kamala. Gavin Newsom had already endured a similar ordeal weeks before. His planned appearance was supposed to be a light, humorous segment involving a cooking competition with Meghan's infamous avocado toast, tied loosely to topics like leadership and wellness. But once again, Meghan went off script. She steered the conversation toward controversial policy questions and even hinted at Gavin's rumored presidential ambitions. The vibe turned uncomfortable fast. While Newsom didn't raise his voice, he left early and instructed his team to keep all future dealings with Netflix strictly professional. Meghan interpreted the moment as a win, believing she had stirred up enough tension to make the episode go viral. But for Netflix, this wasn't viral content. It was pure damage control. The set environment had become increasingly toxic. Passive-aggressive glances, whispered complaints, and quiet timing of how long Meghan spent in makeup compared to how long she remained focused on set. Her entourage, filled with brand consultants, assistants, and so-called vision managers, frequently clashed with Netflix's production leads. Scripts were being rewritten at the last minute. Scenes were thrown out because Meghan didn't Like the lighting. There were even rumors that someone on her team was secretly applying filters to her footage during post-production, but the absolute peak of chaos came with episode 4. Kamala's segment was gone, and the rest of the episode had no clear structure. Meghan had insisted on reshaping the narrative to make herself the emotional core of the season. The original premise of the show, food, conversation, and personal growth, was gone. Instead, it became a platform for unscripted rants, political jabs, and vague empowerment speeches that often led nowhere. Internally, Netflix staff started sarcastically referring to the series as With Love, Meghan, but mostly about Meghan. What had been pitched as a well-rounded lifestyle series had turned into a one-woman stage show, with no clear purpose or direction. The ripple effects reached fast. Publicists began pulling their clients from the guest list. Those who remained, contractually obligated to appear, requested shorter scenes and tighter editorial controls. One even demanded full veto power over their footage. The message was unmistakable: no one wanted to be part of the Meghan Markle circus unless every second was carefully edited and stripped of drama. Still, Meghan remained unfazed. She reportedly told her inner circle that controversy breeds viewership, and that audiences would tune in just to see what she said next. In her eyes, the backlash was proof she was being bold, not problematic. But early internal screenings at Netflix told a different story. Focus groups were confused, some irritated. Viewers couldn't tell if they were watching a cooking show, a political debate, or a chaotic self-help documentary. And with Kamala completely out and Newsom stepping back, the fundamental question hung heavy: who was this show even for anymore? Just 2 days after the Harris walkout, Netflix executives held an emergency meeting. The mood was tense. Some argued for shelving the entire season. Others advocated salvaging what they could, cutting all political content, trimming Meghan's off-script rants, and trying to rebrand the show into something marginally coherent. But there was a major issue: too much of the footage already revolved around Meghan. There wasn't enough balance to rework it into a guest-focused format. Even worse, the show had blown past its budget. The initial production plan had been modest, small crew, a few celebrity guests, and heartfelt episodes centered around identity and food. But once Meghan took over, everything shifted. She demanded elaborate new sets, constant reshoots, guest changes, and ambitious cameos Netflix had never approved. The whole production had morphed into a bloated vanity project, bleeding money while offering no consistent narrative. Despite all this, Meghan remained convinced she was creating something revolutionary. She told a showrunner her goal wasn't just to entertain, it was to change how powerful women are portrayed on screen. But what she didn't understand was that the show wasn't coming across as bold or transformative. It looked disorganized, self-indulgent, and completely unclear on what it was trying to be. One editor even quit mid-post-production, claiming he couldn't make sense of the material, even with a full whiteboard and weeks of notes. The scenes were disjointed, voiceovers contradicted earlier moments, and Meghan often referred to events that were never filmed. Stitching it together felt, he said, like editing a fever dream. Soon, the story escaped Netflix's walls. Tabloids caught wind of the Kamala Harris walkout, and headlines exploded. Harris storms off Netflix set, and With Love, Meghan turns political nightmare began trending online. Meghan's PR team tried to spin the story, but their statements contradicted earlier accounts, and the public wasn't buying it. Online mockery began before the show had even aired. Then came the investor calls. Netflix shareholders were already weary after the underwhelming performance of Heart of Invictus, and now with Love, Meghan looked like it might crash even harder. Executives were pressed for viewership projections, contract liabilities, and whether the deal had any termination clauses. That's how serious the fallout had become. As a last-ditch effort, Netflix brought in a crisis team to determine how, or if, to release the season without further reputational damage. One idea was to drop it quietly, with zero promotion, releasing it midweek and letting it fade.